And now, I want to also bring into what you're doing, like what you're spending a lot of your time on right now. And that's the company that you started called One Tap Connect. Most people are probably going to be familiar with it. It's a version of a digital business card, which is really a microsite that allows that first impression to be very memorable. And in fact, even when you do leave, it's able to be present, omnipresent, even on somebody's phone. And now, very few times I asked that question, that first lesson that you learn, to a lot of people, Charlie, but very few people can really flat out say, hey, I learned this lesson, but your whole business is based on that lesson. So what you said is the more you introduce is the more you produce. Then you fast forward and said the more opportunities you have, the more opportunities you are to actually make money. Then you took it a step further with One Tap Connect and said, the better my introduction is, the higher my conversion rate is. And that really is the summary of what you're doing at One Tap Connect. So that's pretty cool how you took that from, a paper route to, current day, and you're able to really change, the trajectory of a lot of companies based off of your technology with One Tap. With kind of that trend of, let's call it technology. Is it safe to say that you're a technology company? I mean, is that okay to say?
Yes, but I'm a sales company.
All right, I like that even more.
I'm a sales company that is wrapped around a piece of technology.
Good.
Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good the technology is. If you're not out there exposing your brand, exposing your products, and exposing your services, and you're not, if you're not well known in the industry as a master of your craft, you're going to get eaten up.
Plus, anything that's pushed to market without, or anything made without a sales mind behind it, is most likely not going to work that well, because there's variables that come into play that people that are in the market and understand the market can predict, where engineers and folks that are designers can't quite predict that at the accuracy that a master of sales could. Now, my question to you is, because you've trained leaders all over the country. I mean, I feel like I'm downplaying that quite a bit, but you've mentored a number of people. And my question to you is, what advice do you have for CEOs, leaders, or owners when it comes to creating a culture of accountability in today's market, where maybe the past couple of years their companies and their teams have gotten complacent because business maybe was easier than it had been in the past? So how do you manage new expectations with your team without, maybe pissing them all off and sending them running for the hills?
Sure. Well, that's a tough question, because it's easy to answer, but tough to implement.
Yeah.
Right? Or it's easy to answer, but tough to get buy-in. So that being said, again, it goes back to the more you introduce, the more you produce. I believe that every single person within a company is an ambassador for that company. Whether they're a salesperson, whether they're a person that's the CTO of the company, whether it's the person that comes in at the end of the night and is in charge of maintenance and janitorial. The janitor's not a janitor. The maintenance person's not a maintenance person if they are employed at One Tap Connect. And I teach everybody, when someone asks you what you do, you empower salespeople, business owners, and entrepreneurs to shorten their sales cycle and increase revenue. We're a very unique digital product called One Tap Connect. Does that make sense? So everybody at the company, in my opinion, should be responsible for generating revenue for that company, because that is where the money comes from, right? Every person's paycheck that's derived is a direct result of revenue that comes in. So how do you build team and let everybody know that it's their job to shout from the rooftops who you are, what you do, and how you and or your company helps the community. And when you can do that, and then you're out there knocking doors or at your kid's ball game or you're at church, and someone says, "What do you do?" Everything becomes full circle. So, when I'm not a big sports guy, but I watch documentaries on people like Jordan or Kobe Bryant. Why? Because that's their business and that's what they're good at, right? And they mastered their craft, and that's what I try to impose upon all of my people within my company, right? Even my kids and even my kids' friends. It's the same thing. I impress upon my daughter that right now she's an investment. She's a startup, and mom and dad are investing a sizable amount of money in your startup. So again, I'm being long, but it's not an easy question, but it starts at the vision and it starts at the basics, right? Personal goals and business goals are one and the same. So I hope I answered your question,
Yeah.
but that's the real key. You have to get everyone to see the vision of what you're doing and where you're at. And I believe in the trying times that we are right now with higher interest rates or inflation, every interaction counts. So what do you need? You need more interactions, right, that lead to conversations that convert. And the real thing that you need to do is make sure that your people are skilled up, and at hello, they can engage people in prospecting, sort, sift, and separate prospect from a suspect, and then engage the people in the sales process.